Cane Corso out and about, those big dogs, and thought, wait, are those even legal?
I know what you mean. They're pretty striking.
Yeah, they definitely make you look twice.
Yeah.
So we're diving into that today, all about Cane Corsos, the laws surrounding them, those banned breed lists, the whole shebang.
It's wild how certain breeds get that reputation, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll unpack all of that. Why Cane Corsos, where these laws pop up, what it means for owners, everything.
Perfect. So first things first, cut to the chase. Are Cane Corsos actually banned anywhere?
Well, here in the U.S., no federal ban, but it gets complicated. States are a whole different story.
How so?
Some states have what they call breed-specific legislation, BSL for short.
Catchy. So what, like, you can own a dog, just not that dog?
Basically, Arkansas, Colorado, Idaho, a few others, they've got BSL that impacts Cane Corsos specifically.
Huh. So what makes those states single them out? Is it just because they're big and strong?
Part of it, yeah. Historically, Cane Corsos were bred for guarding, hunting. So they've got that look about them,
Can't argue with that.
But that perception, it kind of snowballs. Big dog, strong dog. People jump to dangerous dog.
Judging a book by its cover, but it's a dog this time.
Exactly, and that's a huge issue people have with BSL. It's all about looks, not the individual dog's temperament or the owner's responsibility.
So it's more nuanced than just big dog gotta go.
Yeah.
What's the argument for these laws then? Just preventing bites?
Pretty much, yeah. The thinking is restrict the dangerous breeds, less bites, safer public.
Makes sense on the surface, I guess. But there's got to be more to it.
Oh, absolutely. Lots of experts, animal behavior folks, legal experts, they'll tell you BSL just plain doesn't work.
Really? How so?
There have been studies, right? Cities that got rid of BSL, their dog bite rates didn't go through the roof afterwards. Shows there's more at play than just breed.
Interesting. So if it's not all about the breed, what is it about? What causes aggression then?
They point to things like, irresponsible owners, lack of training, bad socialization, that kind of stuff.
So how you raise them matters more than what breed they are. Kind of like with people.
Exactly. And that's a problem with BSL, right? You could be the most responsible owner in the world, your Cane Corso is a gentle giant, but you're still punished just because of their breed.
Doesn't seem quite fair. So is this just a U.S. thing, this whole BSL debate? What about other countries? They got anything similar going on with Cane Corsos?
It's global, honestly,
Yeah.
and wildly different approaches. Australia, now, they're interesting. Victoria, one of their states, they classify Cane Corsos as a restricted breed.
Restricted breed, huh? What's that even mean, practically speaking?
So in Victoria, owning a Cane Corso, it comes with a whole bunch of extra hoops to jump through, more rules. You'll be dealing with special permits, stricter regulations, even limits on where you can walk your dog, all that.
Wow, intense. So owning a Cane Corso in Victoria is a whole different ballgame. What about Europe? Similar restrictions there.
Europe's interesting because it's less about banning the breed entirely and more about regulations, particularly in public. The UK, for example, they've got their Dangerous Dogs Act, which isn't specifically about Cane Corsos, but it adds another layer of complexity for sure.
Sounds like no matter where you go, different rules to navigate when it comes to Cane Corsos. A lot for a potential owner to think about, that's for sure.
You got that right. And with all these varying rules and how people see the breed, it makes you wonder, what does it really mean to be a responsible Cane Corso owner these days?
Yeah, with all these different laws, you'd really have to be on top of things. So what does being a responsible Cane Corso owner actually look like, practically speaking?
Well, first off, you got to understand the breed, right? These aren't exactly your average lapdog, bred to be guardians, protectors. That's ingrained in them. So early socialization is huge.
Right, like puppy classes, all that, but even more important for a Cane Corso.
Absolutely. You're building a foundation, showing them the world, getting them used to different people, places, noises, and then there's training. That's not a one and done kind of thing with these guys. Consistency, firm guidance, that's what they need.
So more than just teaching them tricks, it's about building a bond, trust, that kind of thing.
You got it. They got to know you're the leader, you know what you're doing. And can't forget exercise. A tired Cane Corso is a well-behaved Cane Corso, that's for sure.
Makes sense. Got to burn off all that energy somehow. Walks, playtime, all that good stuff.
Exactly. And even then, even where there aren't specific breed restrictions, you got to be extra mindful in public. Their big dogs can be intimidating, even if yours is a total sweetheart.
Right. Got to think about how other people are perceiving things, not just your own dog.
Exactly. Sturdy leash, be aware of your surroundings, know when to maybe cross the street, avoid a situation. It's about being proactive. you
So
know?
you're not just an owner, you're like an ambassador for the whole breed, showing everyone how great a well-behaved Cane Corso can be.
Kind of, yeah. Changing perceptions one interaction at a time. So yeah, a lot of responsibility, but rewarding, you know? Seeing those positive interactions, knowing you're part of that.
For sure. Speaking of different places, we were talking about how Australia, Victoria specifically, they got that restricted breed classification.
Hmm.
What all does that actually mean for owners beyond just permits?
Oh, it can be a whole bunch of things. Depends on the specific rules where you are. Some places it means mandatory sterilization, so like breeding cane corsos is super controlled.
Wow, didn't realize it got that specific.
Oh yeah, it can get pretty detailed. Secure fencing requirements, specific rules on leashes and muzzles in public, even limiting how many restricted breed dogs you can
They
own.
really want to make sure people know what they're getting into.
Exactly. Some folks think it's too much, others say it's what's needed to keep everyone safe, dogs included. It's a tough balance.
Definitely. So we talked about the U.S., Australia. What about Europe? What's their take on all this?
Europe's interesting because they often take a less about banning a whole breed and more about like specific situations. The UK's Dangerous Dogs Act, that's a good example.
Oh, yeah, right. We mentioned that earlier. How is that different from, say, the BSL stuff we see in some U.S. states?
So the Dangerous Dogs Act, it's not about banning certain breeds outright. It's more about if a dog's deemed dangerous, they can step in no matter the breed.
So less about what kind of dog, more about how it behaves.
Right. The focus is on preventing dog attacks, but by looking at actual aggression, not just, oh, it looks scary.
Makes sense. So how do they decide what's dangerous under this act?
It's kind of a few things together. Like if a dog's hurt someone or even just acting aggressive enough to cause real fear, that could be it. Then they've got rules about controlling your dog in public, leashes, muzzles, that kind of thing.
Trying to be preventative, but also fair to owners, sounds like.
Exactly. There's always debate, right, about any law, how well it works. But the UK's approach, it shows that focusing on the individual dog's behavior and the owner acting responsibly, that's huge instead of just blaming the breed from day one.
This has been fascinating. I got to say, I started out with basic questions like, can I even own a Cane Corso where I live? And now I'm thinking about all these different countries, laws, how we perceive dogs.
It's more than meets the eye, that's for sure.
It really is. So for our listeners who are now knee-deep in Cane Corso info, what are the big takeaways you'd want them to remember?
I'd say don't judge a whole breed on looks alone or because of a few bad stories. Cane Corsos, any dog really, they deserve to be looked at as individuals.
Like, yeah, they were bred for certain jobs, but
Yeah.
how they're raised, how their owner handles them, that matters more than anything.
100%. And part of being responsible is knowing the rules wherever you are, even if they seem strict or maybe too relaxed.
To do your homework, be prepared, and be that voice for your dog, for the breed, showing everyone what responsible ownership really looks like.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And on that note, if this got you thinking, dig deeper. There's tons of info out there about dogs, about laws, about how we live with animals. Keep those questions coming, folks, and keep the conversation going.
Until next time.